Okay, so I went ahead and took my snap ring pliers. I went ahead and compressed the spring. I had the help of someone with a little pick or a screwdriver, because as I squeezed, the screwdriver has to go on this side. If you can do it on your own, it's okay. You don't necessarily need the help of someone else. But if you're having trouble and you feel a little bit more comfortable, and you happen to have somebody nearby, you can go ahead and squeeze and have them do it. That way you can guide it. But you just squeeze, you keep it tense, and then you take the pick or the screwdriver and you lift one side. As long as one end comes out, you're pretty much good to go as far as releasing it. If it's tight still, you just give it a little squeeze, and then because the one side's already out, it'll come out. Okay, so the cartridge came out. I always mark my corners just for ease of that and match this, but there is one thing about the actual cartridge is there's a little hole right in the edge. That little hole matches a little guide that's inside. So even if you didn't mark all these little lines like this, like I did, just go ahead and look for the little guide. Make sure it slides into the little pin that's inside, and then make sure you press down and make sure it goes in. And that way the ring is going to fall in place. Otherwise, the ring is going to go on one end, but this is going to be lopsided and it's not going to fit because the pin's going to be off. So it has to go in the hole. So there you go. Okay, so that's out. The new cartridge went in. Snap ring inside. Make sure you have a good set of snap ring pliers. Some of them are really small, really rinky-dinky. You don't want to actually use those because they will fall apart. I have one that's kind of small, and I tried it at first, and then they bent and they broke everywhere, so I just got rid of that. Okay, so this is set, is ready to go. So this turbo is going to go back in. One thing that I did forget to tell you when I told you about knocking it out and loosening it over here was, before removing it, is there is a collar that goes around this, and it locks it in place so that it doesn't you know, fall out that way when it spins. But you're supposed to remove this and then hit it so it can go out. So I'll let you know right now. I'll show you what I mean. So let's put this turbo back in. We have our oil lines, everything there. Okay. So now is gonna come the fun part. So we can go get some boost. All right. Start having some fun with this car. Okay, so wastegate arm goes down. There's a little notch for it, and you're just gonna go ahead and wiggle it a little bit there. Make sure it's in place. Okay, perfect. So now what we're gonna do is, this is the collar that I was talking about. So when I told you guys about removing this, I just went ahead and tapped it because it was already out. But this ring goes here, and so the ring comes over like that. Okay, so it has a screw. Here's my screw, and then this one was 5/16 I believe as well. So I just went ahead and removed the screw and then removed the collar, and that's when I tapped out the turbo. So I forgot to tell you guys that. Make sure. So before I put this ring on and before I do this oil cooler, I'm gonna take my adapter, okay, for the oil, and we're gonna go ahead and mount this. And I could have done this actually when the turbo was out, but in getting back to the video, I overlooked that. But it's easy enough to do, so we'll just do it right here. All right, I'll take my 5/8 and I'll just tighten that up. All right, so I went ahead and tightened this up, this section there. So now I'm gonna go ahead and just put my oil cooler line here and just hand thread it a little bit. I put this collar, took my collar, just wrapped it around. Just a second, you'll see where the turbo and the actual manifold line up. And so I'll just put it up here for ease of view. This little bolt goes in here, and it has a squared section on the inside of the head of the bolt so that it actually helps with tightening. So I'll go ahead and just put that there, and I'll start hand threading the nut. There it is. And then I'll take my small, this is where your small little 10 socket with your ratchet comes in play. And then again, righty tighty, lefty loosey. So I'm left. There it is right there. Sometimes you just need to hold it and start that thread going there. Okay, so it'll tighten up, and again, you want to go tight, but remember, always watch it. You don't want to go super tight and, you know, strip it or anything like that. So I'll just leave it up here in this section. You can line it up a little bit sideways down here if you want, or a little lower, wherever you guys want, as long as it's not in the way. So there's that collar. Okay, I'm gonna start torquing, and listen to your bolt, because your bolt will tell you when it's almost done. It's about right. So always listen to it, because you'll feel it as you tighten it. It'll start getting real tight, and then it'll kind of fight back with you a little bit. Okay, this one will be tightened. Okay, we're gonna do 5/8. 5/8. Oh no, here's my crescent wrench for this. Grab my crescent wrench. I was gonna do the oil cooler line, since I bought a new oil cooler line, but it is a little difficult to get to it from just having this here without removing the manifold. So because I'm gonna do my 3-inch downpipe, and I'm gonna do a video on that, I'm gonna clear that manifold section all the way in the bottom, and that's gonna be my time to change the oil cooler line, so it'll be okay. Okay, so there it is, that's tight. Okay, and then your wastegate rod is going to go in there, slide in there. There's a little clip for it, which is this one. Okay, so once I put my wastegate rod right in there, I take my little clip, and that's my lock clip. I'm going to go ahead and go down like this, and there it is. It's locked so that it can open when it actually pulls and you step on the gas. So that's already done. That's already done. The collar's done. The wastegate's already connected. So now we're gonna go down in the bottom, and we're gonna go ahead and start connecting the water lines. So if you notice, this one here, that's for your water, and you can hear it and see the water leaking everywhere because I'm moving them. So they're creating that air, and it's pulling the water up. So let me find the little rings, the copper rings that go on these. I put them on the bottom over there with the other tool, so I'll get those and come right back. So, okay, so I have my bolts for the water outlets, or the water lines, and so they have copper rings. One ring goes there. This goes through the line here, like this, and then you have a second copper ring that goes there, and then that will thread into the outlet section, or not the outlet section, but the thread section here. Okay, so I'm hand threading the bolt, giving it a couple turns before I use my wrench, only because you don't want to strip it. So there it goes. So I have one copper washer out and one copper washer in, and that'll work. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and do the second one on the bottom before I use my wrench. Again, one of them goes through. You're gonna have that copper ring ready. Now to tighten these, again, you can do it from up here, or you can go to the bottom. There's a lot of access on the bottom. The only thing is, because you've been leaking water, you just have to wear eye protection so you don't get that antifreeze in your eye. Okay, so that's one. I'll put the copper ring over, and then in it. So there's one on the inside of the bolt section, and there's one between the line and the turbo. And this second line has a little notch that lines up with the top one. Again, hand threading that. I just dropped it. Okay, so I found the copper ring. It took me a little bit. It was hiding on the cross member kind of in a corner, kind of an odd place for it to fall, but that's where it went. So just clarification on this one for ease of putting it on. The bottom one goes first and then the top one, because the bottom one, this has a little notch right here in the bottom, and the bottom section, the bottom line has an opening where this little notch goes in. So to make it easier for you, put the bottom line, the bottom water line first, and then this top water line. It'll make your life a lot easier than to try to guess where the other one is going to line up. So that proves to be easier for me. And I'll go ahead and tighten this up, and then I'm going to climb. So I'm gonna tighten this bolt again, and then I'm gonna go ahead and go underneath and do the oil line from underneath. Be right back.